the Pope just spoke before Congress. It was not quite the fire and brimstone, at least with regards to climate change, that idiots like Marco Rubio were expecting. I say idiots because he went on Fox News last night and said, well, you know, if the Pope wants to talk about religion, that's fine. But if he wants to talk about economics or politics, he's just a person. Right. Well, first of all, if you're Catholic, I don't think that that's I don't think that that position is consistent with Catholic orthodoxy, although I'm not Catholic. I could be wrong. But secondly, how is an economy not a statement of morality? I mean, economies don't come into being out of nothing. Arguably, a barter economy does in a small way in small communities, but a national economy is created by carefully and thoughtfully coming up with rules for the game of business, deciding what the priorities of business must be and legislating that, and basically encouraging or discouraging behavior that is going to help or hurt individual sectors within the economy, individual factions, to use Thomas Madison's language, in particular ways. So you can't, and those are decisions that are made. Those are decisions that are made by lawmakers that are going to, in the case of Reaganism, make the rich fabulously wealthy and hurt the poor, and then in the case of ending welfare as we know it, really hurt the poor in the case of an economic downturn. And in the case of things like unions and whatnot, these are policies that strengthen the middle class. I mean, how is this not moral? Jim, were you saying that you've got the clips? Okay, so we've got a couple of clips here from the Pope this morning. And the first one's fairly long. It runs 3 minutes, but I'm going to play it in its entirety. And the reason why is because it's almost a Lucy with the football moment between the Pope and the Republicans. He talks about the importance of human life at every stage of its development. And he gets this huge applause because they all assume he's about to go into an anti-abortion rant, right? And then, yeah, he goes into a rant, but it's not the anti-abortion rant that the Republicans were expecting. Here's the clip.
The yardstick we use for others will be the yardstick which time use for us.
In human life at every stage of its
The Golden Rule also reminds us of our responsibility to protect and defend human life at every stage of its development.
Well, not everybody, but certainly everybody who thought he might be talking about both.
This conviction has led me from the beginning of my ministry to advocate at different levels the global abolition of the death penalty.
That's what, oh my goodness.
I am convinced that this way is the best, since every life is sacred. Every human person is endowed with unalienable dignity, and society can only benefit from the rehabilitation of those convicted of crimes. Recently, my brother bishops here in the United States renewed the call for the abolition of the death penalty. Not only do I support them, but I also offer encouragement to all those who are convinced that a just and necessary punishment must never exclude the dimension of hope and the goal of rehabilitation.
Fix this broken criminal justice system and let's work toward hope and rehabilitation. And let's end the death penalty. Absolutely, just end the death penalty. He goes on to say, at the same time, I would encourage you to keep in mind all those people around us who are trapped in a cycle of poverty. By the way, I'm going to be picking up your calls, your thoughts on what the Pope really was saying, your thoughts on the Pope in general, your thoughts on how the Republicans are responding to him. John Boehner, I guess, at one point was literally twiddling his thumbs while the Pope was speaking about something the Republicans didn't like all that much. Anyway, at the same time, I would encourage you to keep in mind all those people around us who are trapped in a cycle of poverty. They, too, need to be given hope. The fight against poverty and hunger must be fought constantly and on many fronts, especially in its causes. It goes without saying that part of this great effort, he's talking about work. He says, I know that many Americans today, as in the past, are working to deal with this problem. It goes without saying that part of this great effort is in the creation and distribution of wealth. The right use of natural resources, the proper application of technology, and the harnessing of the spirit of enterprise are essential elements of an economy which seems to be modern, inclusive, and sustainable. And then he talks about the common good, and then he talks about his encyclical, Laudato Si. He said, we need a conversation which includes everyone, since the environmental challenge we are undergoing and its human roots concern and affect us all. In Laudato Si, I call for a courageous and responsible effort to redirect our steps and to avert the most serious effects of the environmental deterioration caused by human activity. I am convinced that we can make a difference, and I have no doubt that the United States and this Congress have an important role to play. Now is the time for courageous actions and strategies aimed at implementing a culture of care and an integrated approach to combating poverty, restoring dignity to the excluded, and at the same time, protecting nature. He goes through this at some length. And his piece on the arms trade, I'll play the clip for that when we come back from the next break. But it was a brilliant speech. And he quoted Thomas Merton. When I was a teenager, I spent the summer up in the Cherokee National Forest with my friend Clark Stinson. We had 2 teepees, and we were just living in the woods out there. And I brought a bunch of books with me. I brought the Bible, I brought the Bhagavad Gita, I brought Be Here Now, I brought Yogananda's autobiography. I brought Edgar Cayce's Story of Jesus by Jeffrey First, and I brought like 4 Thomas Merton books, 2 of them on Zen. Thomas Merton, I was such a Thomas Merton junkie. He was so thoughtful. He was so deep in his analysis. And he was a mystic. I mean, Thomas Merton was the kind of people that the Catholic Church used to expel. I mean, openly talking about how Zen Buddhism and Catholicism have so much in common. It was pretty amazing that Thomas Merton was the guy that he held up today.